Welcome back to another episode of Tax Tip Tuesday. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about charitable donations and what you need to keep in order to deduct those on your tax returns. Well, hey there. I'm Kimberly Ferguson, CEO and founder of Emerald Expectations Accounting. I'm so happy that you're here. The Emerald Corner is a place where life and business meet, so I want to help you have a growing and profitable small business while maintaining a life with your loved ones, okay? Now, today's episode is another episode of Tax Tip Tuesday. And for those of you who are new here, that's where I share with you tips and tricks on how to get ready for tax season, how to save money on your taxes, and answer your specific tax questions. So if you have a specific tax question, will you please go ahead and drop that in the comments below? I would love to make a video just for you. So today's episode is all about charitable donations, okay? So first of all, how do you know that an entity can accept charitable donations that are tax deductible, okay? In most cases, this is going to be a 501c3, right? This is a designation that the IRS gives to a business so that they can be considered a nonprofit entity, and therefore they can take contributions that are tax deductible for you. Now, something to keep in mind is that it might be possible that 100% of your donation isn't tax deductible. So make sure when you're making those donations that that's something that you check on. If the entity that you're donating to has any kind of a political affiliation, then it's very possible that some or none of your donation will be tax deductible. Okay, so make sure you check on that before you make your donation. But next part of this question is, how can you make sure that you have the right documentation and information that you need to make sure that you can deduct these on your tax return once you know that it is tax deductible? Okay, so a couple things that you should think about. One is we want to make sure that you have the name of the qualified organization. So a big example would be Goodwill, Salvation Army, something like that. Make sure you have the name of the entity. Make sure that you have the address and the tax ID if at all possible. Especially though, if it's over $250, you need to make sure that you have the tax ID from them, okay? Now, a lot of the times they will just give you a receipt that has this information on it already, and that's great, right? So number two, you want to make sure that you have the amount and the date of the contribution, okay? And this applies if you have multiple contributions, make sure that you have the date and the amount of each contribution, right? Again, a lot of these companies do provide some sort of a statement, so it might be fairly easy to have that information, right? So number three is an acknowledgement of the contribution by the organization if the contribution is above $250. So like I said, in most cases, this comes to you automatically, so it's not necessarily something you'll have to be concerned about, but it is something that you need to have in your stack of tax documents in the case that you are audited. You'll need that information, right? This is the tricky one, though. A lot of the times you don't get this from, say, a Goodwill or a Salvation Army, but you need to have the fair market value of the property that's being donated. And that is at the time of donation, including the condition that it's in. So think about what you could get for that item if you were to sell it on, say, Facebook Marketplace or eBay or, one of those types of sites, okay? Also keep in mind that if the value of the things that you're donating is more than $5,000, you're going to have to get a formal evaluation of that. So definitely keep that in mind as you're doing your donations. If you don't want to have to get a formal evaluation, try to keep it below that $5,000 fair market value, okay? And then the last one is any benefits that you might have received in exchange for your contribution. So something that Goodwill does, or these other types of entities do, is sometimes they'll say, donate a car and we'll give you tickets to see a Cardinals game or something like that. We'll give you something in exchange. And so you have to take that value against what you're donating, right? Because they're giving you something in exchange. So it's not necessarily a full donation. You have to actually keep those two things in mind as you're counting your contribution, but definitely make sure that you make note of the benefits that you receive in exchange of your contribution. So, well, thank you so much for spending just a few minutes of your time with me today. I hope that you have a fantastic day, and I will see you in my next video.